Alright, Jaja, I've got the camera up here in Lake Tahoe. I've been shooting some pictures of animals that I'll tack onto one of these three videos. These are responses to your three videos, spiritual meanings of sources of wisdom. And I understand you're taking a break from making videos in order to do a project opposing hate speech on YouTube. And let me know what support I can provide you in that regard, because it's something we should all rally behind. YouTube can be a highly abusive environment, and it's just unfortunate for the exchange of ideas. So whatever I can do, let me know. And if in your travels you wend your way through San Francisco, you've got to let me know so we can get together in the city, as we call it, the narcissistic San Franciscans. Jaja, you presented me with three profound videos, very profound. And so I don't know if these responses will actually give them justice, but we'll see maybe what kind of ideas I can append to them, or what different unique perspective I can maybe bring. So thank you very much for them. Beauty, humor, theater, and love, a fourth element in teaching. And yeah, I agree, love. When I think back, some of the best teachers are the ones I remember as being the best in my childhood actually were affectionate towards their students. So I think love is an important component in teaching. And thank you for describing Muhammad's first vision, the first revelation. What I like about that story is, I have many things I like about the story, but one thing I like about it, I think that his reaction, was very rational. I mean, to go through an experience like that, and then rather than become vain or megalomaniacal or arrogant, he actually responds by, in essence, questioning his own sanity. Was that real? Very, very, well, for lack of a better word, a rational response, and non-arrogant response. It's an excellent part of the story. You've got a part in here in your video about the Quran having positive and negative law, but basically preparing the heart and teaching one to lead a moral life. And you gave a great explanation of reaching a stage where every act one performs is essentially a moral act, and that this then becomes part of one's prayers. It's a beautiful concept, absolutely great. So thank you for that. And my understanding of your description is that the degrees of freedom and expansiveness within Islam prevent it from becoming a cult. And I would have to agree with you, based on your description. I mean, a cult to me is usually a small group. Now, I suppose a cult could form, small cults could form within Islam, as they do within other religions. But the way I define a cult, really, or see a cult, is a small group of people. Usually there's a sort of a charismatic leader. The cults basically isolate the members from communication with their family, with their friends, and basically have them submerge their identity and submerge their freedom of thought to that of the small cult group. So I don't see that at all applying to Islam. Though, I mean, cults can always form within larger religions. Fear is an interesting emotion. Someone asked me to do a video on transcending fear. I'm going to put some thought into it. I'll probably do the video because it's fascinating. And fearing only God. It's interesting. As an atheist, not having a belief in God, you're never faced with actually having to define your relationship to a divine being. You can have a relationship to the universe, but usually you're not positing the universe as a conscious being, or as in a monotheistic sense. So atheists don't really, they're not presented with that deep dilemma of, well, if this exists, what should my relationship be to it? What is its relationship to me and my id? So it's very interesting. I may be segueing into the next video that you made, but I wanted to talk about the term slavery. You know, drawing a distinction between human slavery and the, let's say, dictatorship of God. Human slavery has a couple of elements unique to it, in that you're treating another human being as property, and you're using them as a tool to achieve certain gains, certain ends. I think Aristotle even defines slaves as a human tool. Now, what is a property right? Property right is a claim to property that keeps other people away from that, gives you exclusive right. So there have to be other people in order to have property rights. Now, this wouldn't happen in the case of a single god. There would be no competing claims, no other gods to have a competing claim. Plus, what this god would need nothing from us. It would be a self-sustaining god. So it's not in the case of human slavery where you want some labor done, so you enslave another human being to do labor for you. God would need nothing from us, really. It would be totally self-sustaining. So the human concept of slavery, I don't think applies to a single unified God. Now, what's curious is if you have polytheism, if you have several gods, then perhaps that can create something akin to human slavery, because there you've got several entities, so they can have competing claims, and they could all claim property rights, and they could have competing claims, and also, there being several of them, they cannot be infinite in all regards. They must somehow be confined and separate. That confinement, that separateness, is basically finitude, and it can give rise, or will give rise perhaps, to need. And once there's a need, then you could enslave humans to fulfill that need. So I suppose what I'm saying is that in a true monotheism, at least especially as I conceive the Islamic monotheism, there wouldn't be a relationship to slavery. But under a system of polytheism, human slavery would be possible. A parallel human slavery would be possible. It's obviously the most terrible institution mankind has ever devised. I think I'm going to kind of make that the end of the first video. I think my 10 minutes is probably up, even though I'm not using a computer. I'm just using a freestanding camera, which tends to fall over. Anyway, I know that if you do a response video, it may be a long time in coming because of this project to do, so that's no problem at all with me. This will be sort of a remain open-ended response in our dialogue, and if conditions are right, circumstances are right, and we pick up the thread again, that's great. If not, that's okay too. But I just wanted to note that you're taking a break from video making so that it won't be an immediate response. All right, thank you. Take care, Jaja.